Right folks, today you're listening to Count Richard von Coudenhove Kalergi, and today cruising with the Count is the lovely Gabby, who made an unforgettable appearance on the Katie Hannon show there, what was it, July there, Gabby, was it? Would have been in July?
It was October.
September, October. Yeah. And so we're just out here in Bray now, and we just thought, unfortunately it's a bit of a rainy day, we're pushing 8.5 degrees, and just thought it'd be nice to come down here and take a look at the harbour and hold it. Whoa, look at that.
The little swan sanctuary.
Right, isn't that amazing?
Yeah, my favourite bit of Bray.
Isn't that fantastic? I'm very impressed.
And I love these little birds too.
Oh, I thought they were starlings. They've got little red legs on them.
I'd love to know the name of them.
Snipe, is it? Wow, isn't that gorgeous?
Isn't it?
Yeah. God, that's a dirty looking sea there, isn't it?
Tis.
You know?
Tis alive.
Yeah.
Tis alive.
Wow. I've never seen so many swans in the one place.
Yeah, and the seagulls, and you have pigeons and crows, and then those funny little fellas that just run away there. I'd love to know what the name of them are.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Oh, what a lovely spot. So I just thought, if I may, Gabby, just have a little drive out through past the promenade and have you, and we could just, discuss about, if I may, how things have been for you since and how you managed to end up on the Katie Hannon programme.
Yes.
You certainly had a major impact on me, and I'm very grateful for you taking the time out today to have a chat with me. So.
Well, it's lovely to take this drive, and I've never done anything like this before.
Right.
I suppose I ended up on the telly that I never watched by chance, really.
Right.
So my ex-partner Martin, who was also on the Late Late, had been going in and out to this show because he would get emails from RT, and he'd often said to me, really, you must come in sometime. And I'd always said, no, I was too busy at the time. I was studying at the exams. It wouldn't have been something that would have interested me anyway.
Right.
So I had finished exams and was celebrating success with exams, and he had asked me this Monday, and he said, and they're talking about the TV license or whatever, and he said the food is good. I said,
so that was a recommendation.
Yes, I said, oh sure, look, I'll go in for the crack.
Yeah.
And so we had to be vetted, and so a very nice man rang me and asked me was I a member of any political parties or associations or
Freemasons and things like that.
That sort of thing. And I said, no, not at all. And anyway, so they let me in.
Right.
And then I remember them in the background, before we were going on, that RTE wants to know your views, and feel free to speak. And I was kind of shocked hearing that. They seem to have curtailed so much of the truth, and
Absolutely.
Here they are, welcoming it.
Yes.
So I just kind of noted that in the back of my brain. Anyway, we went in, and the rest, in relation to the programme, anybody who's watched it knows the kind of conversation that ensued with Katie's questioning about the paying or not paying the TV license. So as I was listening to some of the audience members speak about this and the whole Ryan Tuberty, as far as I was concerned, this was just a distraction.
Absolutely.
I was getting angrier and something inside me said, Gabby, you have to say something on this, they're not addressing what's really important. So yes, I could feel stirrings inside me, and my hand being pushed up to ask to ask the question or to make my comment. And I did say a little prayer for just guide me, and whatever came out came out, and I did feel very calm and clear at that moment. And while she did try to
to steer you away.
Or slightly change the meaning of what I was saying.
Yes.
No, I felt very clear.
And then you took back control of the conversation.
Exactly. Yeah,
you know?
and that was it. And then I got an awful shock when I came home that night.
Right.
To realise...
probably had quite a few phone messages left on the machine, did it?
Yeah, yes, on my phone somebody was saying who works in the media, and he would know, was saying that it's gone viral.
Right.
And I thought, what? And he's a bit of a joke, and I thought he was just joking with me.
Yeah.
And so, in fact, no, that he was serious. And then, as you know, the rest is history.
Yeah.
And as I say, I got an awful shock.
Yeah. Well, I think there was, I would say, probably about I'd say 40 or 50% of the audience that night, I'd say, were clapping in their living room, because I think you spoke for so many people.
Yes.
As to the impact that RTE actually had on how they broadcast things, you know. But if I may, I had an interesting experience trying to get on the Joe Duffy show. And I don't have a TV license myself because I don't have a TV. But I made a joke when they took down my details, and I said, is that so you can send the police around to my house? You know?
Yes.
But it's a couple of weeks later, didn't a TV inspector show up at my door?
Wow.
And I thought, is there a connection between them actually sending out inspectors with people who don't actually have a TV license? And could be way actually catching people out? You know,
wow.
just to you know, digress slightly, you know.
Yes.
But so you would have problems with the way RTE broadcast things during COVID.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the big, even prior to the whole COVID chapter, I really didn't listen to the news, or I actually haven't watched telly for a long time.
Right.
And so when the whole COVID thing came along, and people were talking about it, so at the time when all this, what was happening in my life and all this started to play out, I, with a very good friend and colleague of mine, we run fasting retreats.
Right.
Using the Bushinger method, so we do, you know, a method of fasting, water fasting, and we take clients for 5 to 7 days on these retreats. So in March of 2020, we were on a retreat, and so we were also doing a media detox as well. So none of us were watching.
No mobile phones.
No, and no news or no nothing or whatever, and resting and restoring, and so at that time we were doing it from Friday to Friday. So we went into the retreat one Friday, and we came out. When we came out of this lovely place in Wicklow and back into Bray, everybody was queuing for toilet paper.
Right.
And I said, what is going on?
Yeah.
And from that time, Ireland had changed. You know, it was never the same since.
Sure.
And so then I began to look at the telly. What are they on about?
Yeah.
Sure, it's only a bit of a flu.
Right.
You know, but then I was seeing things happening in Italy and ambulances. I thought, what? So I'd say for the first month or so, they got me. I was like, what is this?
Yeah. And it just seemed to be a complete lack of common sense with things.
That's
and an over the top reaction.
Yes.
You know?
And that's and I was victim to that initially, because I got such a it was shocking when I began to watch and what was being played out on the TV, and I'm like, what is this? And I have to say, I was, let's say, nervous going to Tesco in case I picked up this virus initially. And it was only when I calmed down and began to think, actually, this doesn't make medical sense.
Okay.
And
so what would your background, Gabby, be, if you don't mind me asking you?
So my background is in nursing.
Right.
I'm a trained general nurse for over 30 years now. Anyway, I trained in Vincent's and worked in various clinical areas over the years. I actually did my ICU training in Spain, which began my love of Spain in my early
warm
20s.
Temperatures.
And warm temperatures, yes.
And tan maintenance. You know.
So, And then about 20 odd years ago, I trained in psychiatry.
Right.
And unfortunately, I suppose I was quite disillusioned with the system, and as quick as I trained, I went quickly back into general nursing.
Right.
I was very disappointed with the outcomes or the lack of outcomes in psychiatry.
To actually kind of respond to your information, would you see that there was actually a psychological operation done on the Irish people?
Oh yeah, big time. Particularly raising fear.
Yes.
As I say, I was a victim to that. So you raise anyone's fear. Because I have trained in psychotherapy, so...
Because wasn't there a quote there from somebody, was it in the Dáil, that they said we have to keep them afraid because it affects the little people. Isn't that what somebody described them as, the little people? So there was actually a book written by a fellow called Matthias Desmet on mass formation psychosis.
Yes.
So you think it's very relevant to the way the government actually dealt and with this
absolutely.
fear.
So you raise anybody's emotion, and they become much more persuadable or easily manipulated.
Right.
You focus anybody's attention, and they kind of go into sort of like a focus state, focus state, which is like a trance state, and they can be very easily programmed, for a better word, which is exactly what has happened, and also the repetition of this
stay safe, wash your hands. Well, I remember, Gabby, from 8 years ago, it was around the time AIDS came on the scene, and the mantra back then was be safe, wear a condom.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Now I said that to my GP. I said out of curiosity, not that I knew what the hell a condom was, but we're being told on the media, said stay safe, wear a condom. And I said to him, is it true that a condom will help prevent the spread of AIDS? And he said no. He says, because the membrane in the condom isn't small enough to prevent a virus from passing through. Right? So that always stuck in the back of my mind, that to go back to the psychological operation of the mask wearing, that was the first thing that came to my mind, was that this was actually a psychological test on people to see if the government could get the public to cooperate. So the mask was nothing to do with health in my mind. It had practically no function, because since then you have that group by the Cochrane, I think it is, Institute, have went through 78 different peer review articles on the effectiveness of the mask, and they said they're basically irrelevant. So to me, it was a compliance test as to see whether the government could get the people on side. So once they saw the majority of people wearing masks, they knew that they had them, and that therefore they would do whatever. If it meant telling them to stand on one leg and hop, they would do it.
Yes,
because they had stoked up the irrational fear. And so I think in that sense, the responsibility and the misinformation of how other people's point of view weren't tolerated, and I suppose that's where. So when at what stage do you think you became a skeptic as to how this was actually being played by the government? Did you have any light bulb moment or something that struck you? Or was it just a lack of silence about debate? There was no debate. We were told, trust the science.
Yeah, I think for me, I always thanked my lucky stars that I'm so glad I'm trained in nursing.
Yes.
That I've trained as a nurse, and that I had some also psychotherapy or psychological experience, because I was able to kind of see it through this for myself.
Right.
And then a lot of it then has been validated from other experts out there, like who you mentioned.
Dolores.
And Dolores was a huge part of my
for me too.
Education in relation to the soup.
Yes.
So it wasn't sort of more a light bulb moment, because I also, over my years of working as a nurse in the health system, could, let's say, am aware of more health management than actually curing conditions. So
right. So there are protocols around it.
I'm aware of the broken system in the health system.
Yes.
And so it was something maybe that became more and more gradual and then confirmed. And I suppose then it opened my eyes to the bigger how do I put that? The bigger aspects of what the corruption that lies, let's say, in our education system, in our government system, in our...
So protocols became more important than the practicals.
Than actual real medicine and
right.
real medicine with heart.
Yes, but if you look, even if I may, Gabby, there was no, at stage, did the government suggest people actually take certain type supplements. You know, they only had the soup was the only way out of this.
That's right, and I remember somebody bringing up vitamin D to
yes.
be a Varaka in the Doyle,
yes.
and he had to check with Neffet. You know, and he's a medical trained doctor, and I could not believe something as simple as vitamin D. I mean, that's sort of basic medicine or nutrition that a doctor should know and should be testing for. With their patients, and that he didn't know this information shocked me. That he had to go and get advice on it, and I heard that. I heard him say this myself.
But even if I may, as well, Gabby, we're in a situation now. We have excess deaths at the moment, and it's somewhere between 15 and 20%. Now, earlier on this year, it was brought up in the Dáil by a Cork TD. I can't think of his name offhand. And the Taoiseach then said that his exact words that maybe as a result of people's immune system being depleted from social distancing. Imagine that. And most recently by Matthew McGrath and Andrews Moynihan, that was the TD that brought it up from Cork. And Matthew McGrath brought it up. And to my knowledge, Stephen Donnelly, one of the things he said that had excess deaths may have been caused by climate change. Could you imagine that?
Yes,
you know, but it's actually laughable to think that you'd have a Minister for Health who would think that it is appropriate to talk such nonsense.
I know.
But interestingly, if I may, I did a Freedom of Information request for the Central Statistics Office and sent it in by registered post, and that was to how many people died in Ireland for 2020 and 2022 that had COVID as the only cause of death on the death cert. And the answer was, in 2 years, it was only 150 people.
Wow.
Right? And of that, 10 were under 65 years of age. Which we have to go up this way here, is it?
I think so,
Brilliant.
yeah.
I haven't been around this way in a while. I think the last time I was around this way I was on a bicycle.
And nor have I.
You know? You know, but you'll never be lost in the place you haven't been if you look at it that way, you know.
Lovely way of putting it.
Yeah, but that was the thing that struck me, was the Central Statistics Office figures, and the fact that then there was such a push for healthy people to take this untested soup. And that was the thing that I had an issue with, and the division that actually caused where we end up living in basically a medical apartheid, which suddenly came to an end in January 2022, and then you have the Ukrainian war happened, and you have people coming into this country who have the lowest vaccination rates in Europe, and nobody had a problem with that.
Yes, I know.
You know, so that was the bit that I felt that, you know, that the media's role in the fact that there was no debate, we were told to trust the science, and that if we expect politicians to be corrupt, why do we think scientists are going to be honest? And you know, and the effect that organisations like even the World Health Organization, there's 192 member states in the World Health Organization, and only 20% of their funding comes from the member states. The rest comes from private donors and institutions. You know, and now we're in a situation where the government wants to ratify or take part in what will be known as the pandemic treaties, and that is on play at the moment now, and that has to be ratified by May of, I think, next year. But they're in negotiations now to have them ratified. and yet there's nothing in the media about it.
That's right.
You know, and if you look, even if I made to go back to the debate in the Dáil for excess deaths, the Dáil chamber was empty for such an important issue. Nobody cared. Even the Minister for Health wasn't there. You know, so it's quite extraordinary, you know.
Yes.
So where do we go from here, Gabby? I don't mean direction-wise now, but in relation to that's an awful stormy sea there, isn't it? Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. God, it's quite a windy day, you know.
It is.
Yeah. Right.
A raging sea.
I suppose that's about it, Gabby, really, isn't it?
Well, as we pull up here
Yes.
to look at the sea, oh wow.
Amazing.
It is.
Oh, that's beautiful. Look at the far end down there. That must be down towards far side, yeah. Oh, that's extraordinary.
Do you fancy a walk?
Do you? I have a raincoat. Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, well, I'm going to stop this here, Gabby.
Perfect.
Thanks very much for talking to me today. It's been a pleasure. And look forward to our walk.
Okay,
All right.
thank you, Kevin.
All right, good afternoon, good luck, and God bless.